How often have you finally reached that first level of Awaken on your carry hero and been disappointed that the results weren't as spectacular as you expected? Or maybe you've added books to increase skill levels, only to find that lackluster as well? You got all your emblems too? What about your exclusives? Yeah? And you still feel let down? Then it's probably time, maybe even past time, to take a longer look at your gear. Gear is every bit as important, and maybe more so, than any other hero power enhancer in the game. Let's start with Valentine, our carry hero. Valentine is a pure DPS attacker. His basic attack does have a chance of defense down, but mostly it is about the 200% attack damage to a single target. His active skill is a hard-hitting multi-strike damage attack, and his ultimate recycles his active skill, as well as cleansing, healing, and giving him a personal shield. While effect hit will increases the chances of defense down landing, that attribute should be low priority compared to attributes which raise his main combat abilities, which are attack, critical rate, critical damage. In priority order, I would rank those critical rate until it reaches 100%, critical damage, and then attack. From there, I would look to HP, speed, defense, and resists. For Valentine, I've chosen crit rate gear as this account doesn't have any of the fancier gear from the Forge yet. If I'm forging, I would focus on the Slay set first until you can reach a crit rate of 100% without additional gear, in which case I would look to something like Bloodthirsty with attack and leech, or even something like Feather for HP and speed. Slay gear requires mithril ore for 4 or 5 star, and mithril ingots for 5 to 6 star. Those bars and ingots are not easy to come by. There aren't any available in the various shops right now, so you're left with the Battle Order questline or events. This is one of the main reasons to try and be very strategic with what events you go hard at and how many resources you set aside for them. A lot of times that resource is stamina. The actual items that you forge come with a high degree of randomness, as this chart shows. The odds of getting the very best gear are depressingly small. If you have the materials to craft the 5 or 6 star gear, your odds of getting a 6 star legend are a mere 1.5%. The good news is that none of the gear can be less than elite quality, and indeed, 54% of your resulting forged gear in this example will be 5 star elite. Be prepared to get a hold of a lot of forging materials to get the best possible piece. And then each piece is assigned a random set of substats. The best possible gear for a hero is really rare. As an aside, I think it is a little too rare and a little too hard to come by right now. It is one of the areas I'm hopeful that DH Games will take a long look at and reconsider. Okay, so what is the next best option for gear? Well, that's going to be farming it up. You've got 2 choices here. The first is the dungeons, specifically the Dwarven Ruins. For our Valentine example, since we don't have great Slay set pieces, we're going to fall back on critical rate gear and see if we can materially improve on what we have. Right now, at our current power level, we're able to clear through stage 16 of Gwyneth. That gives us a 70% chance of a 4 star item and a 30% chance of a 5 star item. With those chances, we've only got a 0.6% chance to get a 5 star legend piece. Our most likely award is a 4 star elite piece. It may take a few runs to improve our gear, especially as we've only got a 1 in 4 chance of that drop being crit rate to begin with. The other area where we can farm up gear is in the campaign. You can compare it for yourself, but in general, campaigns are not a good option. Even though you can guarantee the type of equipment that will drop, it is of a lower quality level than the dungeon that requires the basic overall party power level. The cost in stamina is usually much higher for the best pieces in campaign. To keep this video manageable, I'll spare you the gory details and the math. Disagree? Add a comment and let me know why. Perhaps I'll make a video on the topic in the future. One important thing to note is that increasing stages in Dwarven Ruins only raises the chances of getting higher rank loot. The chances of getting legend gear stays the same at a depressingly low 2% from stage 1 all the way to stage 30. Even at stage 30, the odds of a 6 star legend drop are only 0.8%. I think DH Games needs to take a look at this. The gear is nearly impossibly rare. I ran a few sets of 25 multi-battles in the Gwyneth dungeon for the critical rate gear. The good news is that Gwyneth also drops Effect Hit and Mastery Gear, which will be useful to other members of our team. Let's take a look at our haul. In a perfect world, we'd be looking for 5-star, high-quality, critical rate gear that has both crit rate and crit damage on it. Filtering for that, we have 2 4-star elite pieces. The second one is a bit superior to the first as it has a higher crit rate. Next, we'll look for pieces that have just crit rate on them. We've got a bunch here, including some 5-star gear.
So let's go ahead and just start
compare
with
that to what
the equipment that
already
Valentine
has
is wearing,
to
and
see
we'll
what
go in
might be
order. We'll start with the
upgradable.
weapon. The weapon is a 4-star. It has crit damage on it. However, it does not have any crit rate. So let's take a look at our weapons. We'll start with this 5-star weapon right here. You can see that it has crit rate on it and is 5-star, so it is demonstrably better than what we're wearing. We'll also take a quick look at this 4-star legend to see if it potentially has better substats. It does not. It has crit rate. It's a little bit lower. Its attack is going to be lower, so the legend doesn't outweigh the 5-star with crit rate. We're going to go ahead and equip this and replace what's in there. We'll level it up here in a moment. Let's go over to the armor. All right, so in the armor, we have a little bit of base attack. 236 is not a big deal. Crit rate is 3.3%. The other stats aren't all that useful. Let's compare that to what we have. So we have armor here. Crit rate is lower at 1.8%. That's not something we're going to upgrade. We do have another piece we got, and we did level this one up a little bit already. And we can see it's got crit rate +2 on it, so that's 5.5% versus 3.3%. We're going to go ahead and equip that as well, and we'll level it up potentially past 8. We'll see. The boots. Boots are 4-star with a 3.1% crit rate and a 4.6% attack rate. That's actually pretty good. I wish it was better than 4-star. We'll take a quick look here with the crit set. This one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this 2.1%. I don't think it's going to be better, but let's go ahead and enhance a few times and see if we can boost up that crit rate. And then see if it's worth investing any further in. So we get hit points. That's not really what we want. We'll take it to 8. If we get crit rate, we may take it one more. All right, so now we're at 4.1%. Let's take it to 12, see if we get lucky with the speed. Otherwise, I think we're done. We do not. So 4.1% crit rate. We'll get 1% crit rate, and we'll get speed, but we'll lose the attack rate. This is a really, really close call, actually, because I hate to lose this 4.6 attack, but I would gain speed, but only if I took it all the way up to 16. I'm not willing to make the investment to take this from 12 to 16 quite yet. I think we need to do a little bit more farming and see if we can find something better. So I'm going to stick with the boots that we have. Last piece that we have on the crit set is the accessory, which we've leveled up to 13. It has 1.8% crit rate. It also has 4.9% crit damage on it, which is nice, and has a good health boost. This is a pretty decent piece. Again, I wish it was better than 4-star. Let's see what other options we have. All right, so out of the bat, so we're going to get a lot more hit points with a 5-star piece of gear, and we've got 2.4% crit rate on here. Do we have any other? We can take a look at this 4-star here. Ooh, this one has crit rate and crit damage on it, so this one is a potential as well. This one also has crit rate and crit damage, so I think we need to level these up a little bit. Let's see. Let's level this up. Say we'll go to 8, and we'll see what happens to our crit rate. Right now, we're at 2.4 versus 1.8. So with our first... All right, so we get attack. That's 263 is not going to be super useful. We get attack again. Let's go ahead and take it to 12. I think we're pretty much done with this piece, though. Yeah, effect resistance. I'm going to keep the piece that we have over this, but I am going to take a look at... We're going to put 8 into this. We're guaranteed to get crit rate and crit damage. It's going to give us the same hit points, so let's take a look and see if we can make a better piece here. All right, so we got crit rate, which is what we wanted. What do we get at level 8? Get crit rate again. All right, that's 5.2. Let's take it to level 12 and see if we get speed or an HP rate. Okay, so 2.1 damage, 5.2 crit rate, 3.3 HP rate. I think this is gonna be pretty favorable. The crit rate is much higher than the alternative piece. The crit damage is a little bit lower, but remember, rate is better than damage. And the HP rate will lose some hit points, but overall, I think this is a better a better piece, so we're going to replace and put that in. All right, before I compare the before and the after, I am going to go ahead and enhance some of these pieces just a little bit more. I'm going to enhance the breastplate up to 12 to try to get us a little bit more defense. I already enhanced the weapon up. I'm going to take the weapon, I'm actually going to take the weapon all the way up to 16. I think that attack is going to be worth it. We have a lot of cash. I think it's a reasonable investment, especially given how difficult it is to find halfway decent gear in the game. All right, so now let's compare the before and after. So before we had plus 56,000 hit points, now we have plus 51,000 hit points. We're down a little bit here. If we find that really important, then we can always increase on the accessory up to a 16. I don't think it's worth making that investment quite yet on a 4-star piece that I don't think we'll keep for the long term. We're going to actively want to upgrade that piece. Our attack is up from 6,100 to 6,600, so that's good. Our defense is down from 39 to 35. That's manageable. Again, if we really care about that, we can increase our armor. But I hate to do that because this armor, I think, is going to be better served to be replaced and upgraded with a 5-star piece as soon as we can find one. Speed is up from 246 to 261. Crit rate, we've gained quite a bit. So we went from 45.1% to 55.6%. That's over 10% increase in crit rate at a cost of less than 10% in crit damage. And remember, crit rate is more important than crit damage. This higher crit rate will give us less variability in our damage output. In other words, it'll be less spiky at a slightly lower cap on the damage, but overall will yield a higher total amount of damage with this. The stats down here are basically meaningless. Effect resistance is a little bit better, but it's not enough to matter. Mastery and healing effect don't matter for our class at all. So all in all, I'm going to say this was a good upgrade for us. We got some several new pieces that we can put to work. We spent a little bit of coin, not enough to be super concerned about. We also placed, in a reasonable position on the equipment event that's running right now. So we got some free goodies as a part of that. So again, a really good upgrade for us. Let's see how it does. To test out the upgrade, I decided to challenge the guild boss solo with Valentine. Now the IMR random number generator adds a lot of variability to the mix, and there are probably other ways that I could have tested. Maybe 20 runs each against Gwyneth 10 or something. But I thought Guild Boss would be a good illustrative example. We can see the original gear on the left side of the screen and the upgraded gear on the right. The difference is massive. Valentine in the old gear pushed out 547,000 damage against the guild boss versus 889,000 with his newly farmed gear. That's an insane 62.5% increase in damage output from Valentine. Some of that is no doubt just the random number generator, but the significant increase in crit rate and attack are huge factors as well. Now I hope I've convinced you that improving equipment, even at the low to middle levels, will yield a meaningful difference. Let me know. There's plenty more to discuss on this topic if you are interested. Take care, and have a great day.